because of you, I bought a new pair of tennis shoes not too long ago.
I'm glad to hear that, Scott.
You were here 2 months ago doing your report on the importance of good footwear. Thanks to you, I now am rocking some foam cushion ones, but I do appreciate that. But I missed you last month. Looking forward to hearing. You always have so many good tips and advice on how we can feel better and ways we can, just to take care of our bodies. And can't wait to hear what you got in store for us today.
Good, and we're streaming now. So.
We are streaming live on Facebook. You people, you got to check out his colorful blue shirt.
All right, so logo. So thanks for having me in today. We have some demonstration today, so if you're able to check into our Facebook live post, you can watch it streaming on the WBVP website, the Facebook page, or you can check it out on the MRS Physical Therapy or Cranberry Physical Therapy page as well. And if you're not able to watch and you're just listening online, that's fine. We'll do the best we can to describe what we're doing today. And looks like we have our intern back again today to help out. So thanks for joining us again. Yeah, so you've kind of been through this once, so you kind of know what to expect, which means expect the unexpected. So he has no idea what's going to happen to him today. But
that's why we like interns.
It'll be fun to watch on our Facebook post here as well today. So let's get rolling. Yeah. So what we're talking about today is something that's very common. So we're talking about low back pain. So just about everybody in their lives will experience low back pain at least one time. And for many, it becomes a chronic issue. Sometimes it's an acute issue. Sometimes you can explain it well. I lifted something funny and, I strained my back and it went away in a couple of days. I took some ibuprofen, put some ice on it or whatever, and it's good to go. But, if it's lasting more than a couple days, if you're still if you did something, it's 3 or 4 days later and it's still bothering you, that's the time to give us a call to MRS Physical Therapy. The good thing with us at MRS Physical Therapy is you do not need a doctor's script for us to see you. So that's something called direct access. As long as your insurance is something other than Medicare, you can come to see us without a doctor's script and your insurance will cover your therapy. But there's something called non-specific low back pain and something called specific low back pain, which means you actually have a diagnosis. You went to the doctor, you had an x-ray, maybe an MRI, and they gave you a diagnosis. So we're going to talk about both things. We're going to talk about some of the common diagnoses that you might have gotten from your doctor. They might have written it down and given you a script, say, hey, go do some physical therapy. Or you might just have woken up or have had this non-specific low back pain that's kind of nagging you for a period of time. And, like I said, if it's been 3 or 4 days and it's still bothering you, that's the time to come give us a call at MRS Physical Therapy and get that checked out as well. Because there are different ways that we treat low back pain, depending on what's the cause of it, whether there's an underlying diagnosis or if it's generalized. When you go through our evaluation process at MRS Physical Therapy, we'll go through a comprehensive evaluation to try to figure out what is causing your low back pain, what kind of motions, aggravate it, what kind of motions make it feel better. That helps us to go down the path of what kind of exercises are going to be best for you. So in addition to talking about some of the specific diagnosis, we're also going to talk about some preventative measures, things you can do to prevent low back pain from happening, and some treatments as well. So I'm going to run us through some simple treatments that you can do that are both preventative, and they can also be done now if you're having some active low back pain to help decrease that low back pain. So as I said, if you can watch it on Facebook Live, that's great. If not, we'll do a good job of describing what we go through here. But it doesn't take a lot of equipment, which is great. So most of the stuff you can do at home. I did bring in 2 little pieces of equipment that I'll talk about as we go through today. One is to help you out with your posture to prevent low back pain issues, and one is to work on stretching, which also helps to prevent low back pain. If you're like me, I've had episodes of low back pain in my life, and I don't want to ever have that come back again because it was so debilitating and it hurt so bad. That is a pain you don't want to experience again. So a lot of the exercises we'll talk about today are preventing, if you have had low back pain in the past, preventing that recurrence. But if you're also having current low back pain, how to help that to be alleviated through exercise and not necessarily taking medications if necessary.
Look forward to that. What would be a normal recovery time? It's the kind of thing where you're painting and you twist your back funny, or you sleep on it funny, or you shut your car door and somehow it hurts. a day or two later, is that a concern if I'm still feeling that? Or what?
Yeah, so sometimes you won't feel it for a day or two later. So if you, like for example, if you're doing a lot of heavy yard work right now, you might feel fine that day. The next day you might feel a little bit. 2 days later is when you're going to probably feel the maximum amount. If you're good 2 days later, then you're probably okay, even after doing a lot of heavy work. But if it's lasted for 3 or 4 days and it's still bothering you, that's the time to give us a call to MRS Physical Therapy. Get some intervention. It might not be anything that takes a long time. It might just be giving some advisement for how to lift properly, a couple exercises to do to alleviate your low back pain. But if it's something you've been chronically dealing with on and off for a longer period of time, then we're going to probably put you into our low back pain plan, which is going to be how to treat your low back pain that you're currently having and how to prevent that from coming back again as well.
Okay. Well, we want to get the demonstrations going here. We got
so
Dante, our intern, ready to.
Yeah, Dante, thanks for coming out here.
Yeah,
we appreciate it. We got the Facebook live feeds rolling here. I don't see it on my phone, so yep, I see it there. Okay. So if you're able to watch, we'll do some demonstration with Dante here. Dante, what did we work on when you were last here?
You did the top 10 best-selling products.
That's right. We went through. Hey, so we're going to get to see a couple of those today because I brought some of those back because two of these products are specific to the low back pain. But let me talk first about if you're listening at home and you've gone to the doctor for low back pain. You might have had an X-ray. You might have had an MRI. Some of the common things that you get diagnosed with. Spinal stenosis, that's a real common one. Spinal stenosis happens when you have a narrowing of the openings between your spinal vertebrae where the nerves pass through. And that's spinal stenosis. People typically, they feel better if they're leaning something. So people with spinal stenosis, they feel better if they're at a grocery store and they're pushing a shopping cart. And they'll be like, yeah, I can walk around fine when I'm pushing the shopping cart, but if I'm not pushing the shopping cart, it really hurts. That's often diagnosed as spinal stenosis. That's a common symptom, if you will, when they're walking. If they're leaned forward a little bit, it takes some relief off that narrowing of their spinal cord, of their nerves, so they get relief with that. Another one, there's a lot of ones that sound very similar. There's spondylosis. So spondylosis is just like an arthritis in your back, comes through the aging process. Spondylolysis is you actually have like a stress fracture in the vertebrae. Something that I personally have is called spondylolisthesis. Spondylolisthesis is something that comes with the aging process where one vertebrae has slid over top of another vertebrae. So your spinal alignment is not in the way you were born with. It's not the way it should be. You actually have one vertebrae that slid over top of another vertebrae. That's what caused my low back pain, and it was the worst pain I've ever experienced. I mean, I had to use a walker for about a week to walk around. The pain was so bad. I had to crawl on the floor to get to the bathroom. The pain was so bad. And some of you listening at home might have experienced similar things where the pain can be that bad where you just become debilitated and immobile. And low back pain is actually the number one diagnosis that causes disability in the world. So it's a really common diagnosis. It's the number one diagnosis we treat at MRS Physical Therapy. So you have the spondylosis, the spondylolysis, the spondylolisthesis, the spinal stenosis. Then another common one is abbreviated DDD. So you might see that on your prescription from the doctor. It just says DDD. But what it stands for is degenerative disc disease, and that often comes with the aging process as well, where you have the little cushion between your vertebrae. Those discs, they start to degenerate, they compress, and that can cause low back pain as well. So many of my patients will come to me with a prescription that's got one of those diagnoses: spinal stenosis, spondylosis, spondylolisthesis, spondylolysis, degenerative disc disease. The good news is physical therapy can help all those, okay? So there's not a single one of these low back diagnoses that we cannot help. Okay, so that's the great news. Physical therapy has really good outcomes in treating all these diagnoses. So if you've been told by your doctor you have one of these and you're having low back pain, please give us a call at MRS Physical Therapy to help treat that, make you feel better. If you have experienced low back pain, it really changes the course of your life and what you are or are not able to do. And preventative measures, we encourage a healthy, active lifestyle. Just walking every day is very helpful. Managing your weight, because when you start to get that dad bod and you start to get a little bit of a gut there, that increases the stress on your low back. Sleeping posture, just sleeping on your back increases low back pain. So things we talk talk about for sleeping posture is putting a pillow under your knees will take the pressure off your low back. If you're a side sleeper, putting a pillow between your knees helps take the pressure off your low back. Quitting smoking, because smoking is shown to decrease the nutrition you're getting to your discs and your spine, and also changes the calcium levels that goes to your bone, which increases the likelihood of having fractures. So if you are a smoker, there's many reasons to quit smoking. This is another reason to quit smoking. Your everyday posture. We're going to talk about that and give us a little demonstration with Dante here for proper posture. For sitting, taking regular breaks. So if you are at a sitting job, you take regular breaks. So Scott, when you have your radio weather break, get up and do a little stretching, walk around a little bit, so you're not sitting for 8 hours at a time. You should take a break about every hour or so. If you're driving, so I was just on a trip where I drove 1,100 miles. So that's a long trip over the course of 3 days. But we made sure that we got up and we took a break every hour and a half, every 2 hours. Get out of the car, walk around, stretch out a little bit, do some quick, simple stretch breaks to help take the stress off your low back. So,
as far as sleeping, Is there a general consensus of a hard mattress or a medium mattress? Like, what do you want your mattress to be?
Well, people have certain preferences. So some people don't like really hard, firm mattresses, and they feel like they're sleeping on a board. That's not necessarily the best thing. I particularly don't like soft mattresses. I think soft mattresses I sink into. It's hard to get out of. So I kind of go for a moderate, middle of the road mattress. But really important is that how your body is positioned in the mattress. So your knees should be slightly bent and having a pillow either underneath your knees if you're lying on your back, or lying on your side with a pillow between your knees. And they make those body pillows, which are those, they're about, 1.5 feet in diameter, like 4 feet long. So, you can use those body pillows are really nice for those. And they're soft. They have some firmness to it, but they have enough density to them that they can help you bend your knees a little bit when you're on your back, lying on your side. That's what I personally use to kind of help with my sleeping habits, with my body mechanics when you sleep. People don't think about body mechanics when they sleep, how you're positioned, right? So, but that is important to help taking the stress off your low back. Then, of course, if you have a job where you have to lift things, carry things, push and pull things, using good body mechanics, that's called ergonomics in the workplace. Making sure you're bending your knees when you lift, or if you're out gardening, weeding. I've run into this problem where if I don't use proper body mechanics, then I strain my hamstrings, which puts then stress into my low back. And that's one of the exercises we're going to teach you today, is how to keep your hamstrings mobile, because there are a couple key muscle groups that we're going to show you that are important to have flexibility to, number one, flexibility to help your back have proper motion, but number two, strengthening to help strengthen the proper muscles to help stabilize your low back as well. So in addition to everything we talked about just now for preventative measures, things like regular walking, good posture, good body mechanics, quitting smoking. These flexibility and strengthening exercises are preventative. I do these every day. I do them twice a day, actually. I do these stretching exercises twice a day, once before I get out of bed in the morning and once before I fall asleep at night. And that keeps my back in good position because, like I said earlier in the show, I do have a diagnosis of spondylolisthesis where I have a slippage of one vertebrae over top of another. And if I don't stay ahead of it, then I'm going to have a course of low back pain. And that's going to, I lost work days, because I couldn't get out of bed. My back was so bad. And,
I hope you can show us some of those back stretches. I'd be interested in what some proper ones are to do.
Yeah, we're going to go through all those back stretches here with our helpful assistant here today as well. So
why don't we do this? Why don't we cut for a break right now, and then we'll get you all positioned, and then we'll...
Sounds great.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Stay right there. More Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy, coming right up.
Here is a question that's very easy to answer. Would you rather be sold something or get professional help and advice that ultimately leads to a strategy that best suits your needs? Tom Young at First Consultants Inc. in Beaver has a unique approach that has won over the trust of even the most skeptical clients.
Everybody that's selling is looking for a profit. I focus on creating strategies that are in the client's best interest.
Ask yourself this: what have you got to lose? The answer might be a fortune. Get financial strategies instead of a pitch about a product. Visit firstconsultantsinc.com or be a part of Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor. It might be time to repair or replace that old garage door. Call on Robin and her team of expert installers at Electric Garage Door Sales in Monaca. Dial 724-774-3200 and your door will work like a charm. Featuring CHI quality garage doors, LiftMaster garage door openers, and over 50 years experience, Robin and her team will get it done right. Electric Garage Door Sales. Give them a call at 724-774-3200 or find them online at electricgaragedoorsales.com.
We're talking with Art Cornell from Beaver Cemetery. Art, I understand that Beaver Cemetery has some interesting options for families choosing cremation.
We do. You may have parents or grandparents or even great-grandparents buried in Beaver Cemetery. If so, your family has the right of burial as a cremation in any of those plots.
And you have a way to do that families might not know about?
Yes, we do. If your family has an existing gravesite at Beaver Cemetery, you can bury your loved one's cremains on top of a family member at a 77% savings over a traditional burial. This gives families a place to visit and reflect today at a cost that most families can afford.
Cremation burial on an existing plot at a 77% savings? That's a very affordable option.
And remember, everything your family has at Beaver Cemetery, past, present, and future, will be protected by our Perpetual Care Fund.
Thanks, Art. Friends can learn more at beavercemetery.net.
Monaca's Groove and Grub series is back with food trucks, free live music, games for the kiddos, and more. Come on down Friday, August 22nd from 5 to 9 p.m. at Washington Plaza in downtown Monaca. Get your grub on with a tasty lineup of food trucks and get your groove on with live music by the Hoot Owls. It's the last Groove and Grub event of the season, so don't miss it. Friday, August 22nd from 5 to 9 p.m. at Monaca's Washington Plaza. For details, visit monacacdc.org.
This summer, put something meaningful on your plate and in your community. Join us for the 51st Annual Beaver County Stockman's Club Livestock Auction at the Hookstown Fair, happening Friday, August 22nd at 6:30 p.m. These dedicated local youth have spent months raising and caring for top-quality livestock, market steers, hogs, lambs, goats, rabbits, and poultry. They're not just selling animals, they're learning responsibility, hard work, and the value of agriculture. By purchasing at the auction, you're not only getting fresh, locally raised meat for your family, you're investing in the future of Beaver County farming. Join us at the Hookstown Fair on Friday, August 22nd at 6:30 p.m. for the Beaver County Stockman's Annual Livestock Sale. Registration opens at 4:30 p.m. Buy local, support youth, taste the difference.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, your home for local news, information, and music. Brought to you by Fry Transportation. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, helping to make Beaver County a better place to live, work, and play.
We're back at Beaver County Radio, the morning show. Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy, is joining us, and we have a demonstration on the way, streaming live on Facebook. Dante, our intern. Dale, take it away. Just for people listening only on the radio, we have Dante spread out on the table, hands on stomach, looking slightly nervous, slightly worried, but he's going to feel better once you teach him how to make his back feel better.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking about low back pain today, and we're talking about it's a very common diagnosis, the number one diagnosis we treat at MRS Physical Therapy. If you are experiencing low back pain at home, give us a call. We can take care of it. You don't need to see a doctor first for most of the time, if you have, if you were lifting or doing some gardening or cleaning up the yard and you experience some low back pain and it has not gone away, you don't necessarily have to have had an x-ray or any diagnosis like that. If your back's just hurting you, come see us, please. So we talked about earlier in the show some preventative measures and some treatments that we're going to do. The first thing we're going to talk about real quick is just positioning. So Dante is our intern helping us out today. So what we talked about is sleeping posture. So if you sleep on your back, your back sleeper, just bending your knees a little bit can help out. So if you're watching right now on Facebook Live, Dante's lying flat. He's straight out. His knees are straight. And you can see a little arch in his low back. Now I'm going to bend his knees. So go ahead and bend your knees so your feet are up on the mat table or on the table there. And that alone, just bending those knees like that, takes that arch out of his back. So now the stress has been taken off of his lumbar spine there. So if you are a back sleeper, you just want to put like a pillow underneath your knees. That'll help out to decrease your low back pain. If you are a side sleeper, just putting a pillow between your knees helps to decrease your low back pain as well. But what I want to show you now is some simple exercises. We're going to show you 4 stretching exercises and 4 strengthening exercises that both help to prevent low back pain, or if you're currently having low back pain.
Yeah, maybe if you said while we're doing this, that might help.
So if you're currently having low back pain, that'll help out. So if you're watching on Facebook Live, please watch to what we do here. And if you are just listening, I'll do a good job describing what we're going to do. So there's some common muscle groups that get tight, and when these muscle groups get tight, they can lead to having low back pain. Those common muscles are your hamstring muscles, your hip flexor muscles, your piriformis muscle, and your quadratus lumborum muscle. So I'm going to now show you the 4 simple exercises that you can do. I do these personally twice a day. I do them in the morning before I get out of bed, and I do them at night before I fall asleep. And like I said earlier in the show, I actually have a diagnosed spondylolisthesis in my low back where one vertebrae slipped over the other. So these exercises help prevent me from getting low back pain. And then I'm going to show you some strengthening exercises you can do. So we'll start out with the flexibility exercises, and we're going to use this simple stretch strap here. So this stretch strap that I have is going to be used for 2 different exercises. The first one I'm going to show you is the hamstring. So I'm going to set Dante up with the hamstring for flexibility exercises here. So I'm going to put the one around his foot. Hold on to that. Okay, so he's got the strap around his foot. You're going to put your right hand on the knee to keep that knee straight, and then your left hand's going to pull that foot back towards you. Okay, and looks like you have good. You feeling the stretch in the hamstring there? Okay, so it's a stretch. So when we do a stretch, we want to hold that for a good 20, 30-second hold, and then we'll have him do about 2 or 3 of those on each leg. So I really like using these stretch straps. Most of my patients feel like they get a better stretch using that stretch strap. So that's the hamstring stretch. Now I'm going to have you roll onto your stomach, but you can keep the strap on your foot.
It's interesting to work on your back. You're actually working on your hamstring as well.
Yeah. So he's going to go onto his stomach now, and now he's going to stretch out his hip flexor. So pull that strap now so your knee's bending. Yep, pull it towards you. So now he's getting a stretch in his quad. Do you feel that stretch? Definitely. Okay, so he's getting a stretch in his quad muscle now and his hip flexors. So in the front of his leg, the muscles that he's lying on, the front of his body, in front of his hip are the hip flexors and the quad muscles. So using the same strap again, we're going to hold it for about a 20 or 30 second hold. He's going to stretch out those quad muscles and hip flexors. So when your hip flexors and your hamstrings are tight, it causes a lot of stress in your low back. So if you're moving around and you're bending forward and your hamstrings are tight, you're going to get strain in your low back. Okay, so go ahead and roll back on your back. And we're done with the strap now, so we'll take that off. But go and lay back on your back for me. And I'm going to show you 2 more stretches that you guys can do at home that are watching. You can bend both your knees. That'll help take the stress and strain off your low back. It'll help prevent low back pain, and it can also treat low back pain. So the next one's called a piriformis stretch. So you're going to cross your right foot over your left knee, and then you're going to put both hands around your left knee underneath here. Yep. And you're going to pull that knee towards you. And as he pulls that knee towards him, he's going to be stretching out his right piriformis muscle. Okay? So as he pulls that forward, do you feel that in your right butt cheek? I do, yeah. Okay? So that's your piriformis muscle you're feeling there. So he's stretching out his piriformis muscle. It's very common for me to see people come in with pain and they think it's coming from their low back when it's really from their piriformis. So if you have pain that is pressing on your sciatic nerve, you can feel it all the way down to your big toe. It might go down to your buttock, it might go down to your knee, but it can go all the way down to your big toe. And that's because you have pressure in your sciatic nerve. Now that back pressure from the sciatic nerve could be coming from your low back, or it could be coming from the piriformis muscle. That piriformis muscle, the sciatic nerve passes through that or around that piriformis muscle, and if that piriformis muscle is in spasm, if you've been doing a lot of sitting and it's aggravated, that will give you the same symptoms as low back sciatica. So people say, they know that term sciatica. That could be coming from the piriformis or from the low back. So this is a common thing that I look at in my diagnostic workup when I do an evaluation of my patient to make sure I clear the piriformis muscle to make sure that's not causing the problem itself. Okay, so you can put both your feet down flat again, but keep your knees bent. Okay, so we showed the hamstring stretch. We showed the hip flexor stretch. We showed the piriformis stretch. And the last simple stretch that we're going to do is the quadratus lumborum. The quadratus lumborum is a big muscle in your low back. And in order to stretch that out, you're going to cross your left foot over your right knee, like you're crossing your legs. And then you're going to use that left foot to pull the right knee towards me. Just your legs. Yep. So he's using his left leg to pull his right knee towards me, and he should feel this stretch up across the right hip and into the low back. And this is now stretching that quadratus lumborum muscle, that big back muscle that can sometimes go into spasm. It can cause low back pain. And remember, when you're doing a stretch, you just want to stretch and hold it. Don't bounce. Bouncing's old school. That was from the 60s and 70s gym class that we did, Scott, before Dante's time. Our gym teacher used to tell us to bounce. Well, that's old school. We don't do that. We hold the stretch now, and we hold that for about a 20 to 30 second hold. And of course, we do both sides. You can go and stretch the other side now to switch everything around. So right foot, yep, and then pull it towards Scott. There you go. That's the stretching out the quadratus lumborum muscle there. So that's a real good stretch for him to do. So those 4 stretches, very simple. Hamstring, hip flexor, piriformis, quadratus lumborum. I personally do these 4 stretches. They are my go-to stretches. I do twice a day, every day. I don't miss it because guess what? If I miss it, then I end up putting myself at a likelihood of that low back pain creeping back up on me. But if I can keep these muscles loose and limber, then that's half the battle for most of us to keep that flexibility. Okay. Next, we're going to do some strengthening exercises. You want to work through the strengthening exercises now, Scott? We good on our time?
We do have Noah's news, so we'll do the news real quick, and we'll let Dante take a moment to catch us.
Okay.
How do you feel, Dante? I want to ask you after doing that.
I feel good. I feel like I needed that a little bit.
It goes to show, even a young guy, doesn't it? All right, we'll go to news, and we'll be back more with Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy.
Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning. On this Wednesday, August 20th of 2025, we will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. A jury from Beaver County convicted Jason Banks Jr. yesterday morning of killing 20-year-old Triana Washington in an Aliquippa alley on Reed Street on August 17th, 2024. The decision took over a week and the conviction took place in Beaver County. Banks is guilty of both the murder of Washington as well as 2 other separate assaults hours before Washington was killed. Banks received a life sentence in jail without parole, and he will be sentenced formally at a later date. Acting U.S. Attorney Troy Ravetti announced Monday that a former Rochester resident has been sentenced in federal court to up to 10 years of prison and 3 years of parole on a conviction for possession of a firearm and ammunition by a convicted felon. 35-year-old James Gilmore received this sentence upon the conviction that he possessed. According to information presented to the court, on June 9, 2021, police attempted to stop a vehicle Gilmore was driving because he had an active arrest warrant for a parole violation. Gilmore escaped instead of pulling over at that time and threw a firearm from that vehicle that was loaded with an extended magazine that was attached, which was capable of holding ammunition totaling 30 rounds. After the firearm that was thrown during the vehicle chase was examined, it was revealed that the firearm was reported as stolen previously. According to a release from the Community College of Beaver County, CCBC recently announced the appointment of Dr. Katie Thomas as their provost and chief academic officer. Dr. Thomas served most recently as the Community College of Beaver County's dean of the School of Professions and Transfer Studies, where the 5 pathways of business, criminal justice, education, liberal studies, and STEM through CCBC were overseen by her. Dr. Thomas has over 17 years of experience in innovation for academics, instruction, and community college leadership leading into her new appointed position. The City of Aliquippa Police Department is trying to identify a female suspect that was involved in a recent retail theft that occurred at the Fine Wine and Good Spirits store on Broadhead Road in Aliquippa on July 24, 2025. The picture of this female suspect can be found on our website at beavercountyradio.com, and if you or someone you know are able to identify her, call 724-378-8000. Pennsylvania State Police in Newcastle report that some items were stolen from 59-year-old Joseph Buttermore of Newcastle on the dates of both August 15, 2025 and April 20, 2025 in Slippery Rock Township of Lawrence County. Pennsylvania State Police Newcastle got a report for a theft, and Buttermore reported that a jar of change, a $2,000 Stihl 880 chainsaw, a $200 yellow DeWalt rechargeable battery, and $60 of drill bits in cases were stolen from his house on 4014 Elwood Road. The investigation into this incident is ongoing. PennDOT District 11 announced that this evening, weather permitting, lane restrictions on Route 19 Perry Highway in the town of McCandless in Allegheny County will occur from 5:30 p.m. to approximately 11:59 p.m. tonight. Lane restrictions will occur on southbound Route 19 between Montclair Avenue and West Fairview Avenue. Waterline installation work will be conducted by crews from RCC Building Contractors, LLC.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly cloudy today with a chance of showers and possible afternoon thunderstorms. We'll see highs near 82. Cloudy tonight will drop down to a low around 65. Partly sunny tomorrow with a chance of afternoon showers and thunderstorms. We'll reach highs near 81 and lows around 62. And lots of sunshine expected on Friday. Look for highs in the mid-80s and lows around 61. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM, AM 1230 WBVP, 95.7 FM, and 1460 AM WMBA. Also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
In a recent live broadcast, Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy stated that if you are over 65 years old, the CDC recommends getting an annual fall risk screening.
Your vestibular system is similar where it starts to slow down at the age of 40 to 50 years old. Your balance systems start to change at the age of 40 to 50 years old, and they keep getting worse. So it's not just something you do once, but you should do it annually because your body continues to change year to year as you get older.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy, located in Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater, or Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. For more information, call Dale Reckless today at 724-728-7550 or visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to Beaver County Radio.
We're back at the Beaver County Radio Morning Show with Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy, also streaming on Facebook, and you want to be on our Facebook page, the Beaver County Radio Facebook page, because Dale is doing some demonstrations on ways to stretch out and keep your lower back in tip-top shape. We have intern Dante going through the workout here. I learned some good stretches there. And Dante, you said you feel good doing that. You feel a little looser? You feel a little... Oh, yeah. All right, well, take it away, Dale.
All right, so yeah, we're talking about low back pain and some common things. And one thing we talked about as preventative measures is looking at good posture. And during our break, I'm watching Dante take a break here. I'm like, Dante, don't move because you're going to be an example since we come back in to those watching on Facebook. So Dante found his comfortable position while he was on break, which is a slouched posture, which puts a tremendous amount of stress on his low back. Now, Dante's a young guy, but I can tell him right now, if he continues to use this posture over the course of his life, he's going to end up with a low low back pain. So if you're watching on Facebook Live right now, you can see the curvature of his back here, how it's slouched here, and in his low back, he's putting a lot of pressure through his lumbar spine with how his pelvis is what we call posteriorly rotated. He has a posterior pelvic tilt as he's sitting there with his thoracic spine rounded, and he's putting a lot of stress through his low back. So I would encourage Dante to sit up. Some cues there. Okay, so just some simple cues there. You saw I just put 2 hands on him and I got him into good posture. This is what I just did there took me a nanosecond, right, to get him into good posture, and that's going to take a stress off his low back. So if Dante does experience low back pain, he's going to have to get into this posture, get out of low back pain. But I can tell him over the course of his life, if he continues to stay slouched like that and rely on his low back ligaments versus musculature to stabilize him, he's going to end up with some back issues. So,
and that's got to be more common now with people walking around with their cell phones. They're slouched over.
They're looking down, they're slouched over,
Yeah.
they're on their computers, all that. Increases the likelihood of them having low back pain. And we're going to come back to posture in a little bit, but while we're in this position with Dante, we're going to show you the strengthening exercises. I showed you the 4 best flexibility exercises: your hamstrings, your hip flexors, your piriformis, and your quadratus lumborum muscle. I showed you those 4 things. If you missed them, you can go back and watch the Facebook Live feed. You can rewatch it again and watch those. But now we're going to move into the strengthening phase, because not just flexibility, but you also need strengthening to help support and stabilize your low back. So Dante, go ahead and lay back, flat on your back how we had you earlier, and bend your knees up on the mat table, on the table here. Okay. So what we're talking about, the first one's called a posterior pelvic tilt. So your lower abdominal muscles are right here. Okay, so I'm putting Dante's hand, put both your hands there so the camera can see it. Both your hands, you're going to tighten up those muscles, and you're going to flatten your back into my hand here by rocking your pelvis back posteriorly. So let me demonstrate that here. So your pelvis is going to rock back this way. Yep, and tighten, flatten your back into my hand there. So he flattens his back into my hand, and that's strengthening up his lower abdominal muscles. Those lower abdominal muscles are crucial for stabilizing your low back. Whenever anyone comes in, I'm looking at their strength of their core muscles. 9.9 times out of 10, they need to work on their core muscles as a component of their physical therapy program. Okay, so that's the basic core exercises: tightening up your lower abdominal muscles through doing what's called a posterior pelvic tilt. Now we're going to progress to a higher level exercise for the core. So stay laying on your back. And keep your knees bent, but pull them so they're straight up, so your hips are at 90 degrees, feet off the ground. Yep, right there. And raise your arms straight up towards the ceiling at the same time. So these next ones are called dead bugs. So you're going to drop your left foot down to the ground while you bring your right hand up back behind you. Nope, just the right hand back behind you. Yep, but keep this one up. Don't move anything else. Okay, and then switch. So put the other foot down and bring the other arm up, okay? Now, instead of touching your floor to the ground, just hover your foot so it's about 1 inch off the table as you bring your foot down, and alternate again and switch again. So opposite. There you go. So now he's required to really work on those core muscles. Again, this is a high-level core exercise. I usually don't give this to someone until they're further along in their progress. So don't necessarily just try this one at home and say, oh, Dale said I had to do this one for my low back. Because, like I said, this is a high-level progression that I wanted to show you. This is kind of like the last progression of what we get someone to work on. Dante's a fit young guy, but I'm sure he can feel his core muscles working just with that exercise. But we do start with that pelvic tilt with everybody. Okay. The next one is we're going to go over onto your stomach in a quadruped, hands and knees position. So he's going to get into a quadruped, hands and knees position, head up here. Yep, up on your hands and knees. And this next one's called a bird dog. So get your hips over your knees. So back up a little bit there. Keep your knees underneath you, but pull your hips back right there like that. Yep. Don't go back so far. Right there is good. Okay. And what he's going to do is he's going to kick the right leg back behind him and the left arm straight out in front of him. So opposite. Yep, just like that. Okay, so Dante's a young, fit guy, but I can see him shaking a little bit, so I can tell this is a little bit of a struggle for him and his core muscles. So he's going to hold it for about a 5-second hold, and then you're going to switch and do the other side. Okay, and then the opposite arm. So again, this is a higher level exercise. I don't want my people watching just to try this one. There is progressions to get to this phase. This is a higher level core exercise. As you can see, a young, fit Dante, it's working his muscles pretty good as well. Okay. Now you're going to go on your side facing the camera, and we're going to do a side plank. So just on your elbow, and you can be on your knees there. We'll start out with a simple progression, and then just lift your hips up in the air off the table there. Okay. Keep your knees down. Now keep your elbow underneath your shoulder. Okay. Yep, and just lift your hips Up in the air. There you go. So that's called a side plank, okay? So a side plank is going to work your side core muscles, okay? And he's going to hold that for 5 or 10 seconds and then come on down and repeat that again. There's a lot of different plank exercises. This is a side plank. You could be doing a forward plank, but right now he's got his left hand down to support him to push up a little bit. So again, young, fit guy, a very challenging exercise. But those are 4 great core exercises to work up to, okay, if you want to work on your core. And I 100% recommend you come see us at MRS Physical Therapy to get you to this point of being able to work on these exercises. The posterior pelvic tilt, the first one I showed you, is probably the only one that I would recommend anyone at home just to start with without my supervision. The rest of them need a graded progression up to getting stronger and better with those. Okay, so we showed you 4 flexibility exercises and 4 strengthening exercises to help strengthen and support your low back. Okay, next we're going to talk about some posture, which I alluded to a little bit earlier with Dante. So, and actually, if you can see Dante right now, the way he's slouched, he would have a hard time sitting up because of his hamstring tightness. Okay, in order for him to sit up with his legs out in front of him, it's putting strain on his hamstrings and putting strain on his low back. So this is a good example of why I tell people not to kick their feet up on an ottoman when they're sitting in a chair or a couch at home. First of all, they're sitting in a couch, so it's not going to have a supportive back, so they're going to slouch in their low back muscles. But when you have your legs kicked up on the ottoman, it puts more stress on your low back and forces the tension in your low back to increase. So it increases your likelihood of having low back issues. So if you're sitting, then I recommend you have your feet on the floor because it takes the hamstring stretch out of the way.
Question for you there. The popularity of Adirondack chairs. You're kind of slouched in an Adirondack chair. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, but your feet aren't kicked up in the Adirondack chair. You recline back, which is exactly where I was going to go next, Scott, is that if you want to kick your feet up, go ahead and do the full recliner back in your chair. So if you're reclined back, then your back is supported and you're not putting the strain in your low back. The problem comes, Scott, is when you're trying to sit at a 90-degree angle with your low back, with your feet out in front of you. That's with the flexibility issue in your hamstrings and the stress in your low back. That's when you're putting a lot of pressure and stress in your low back. So either your feet on the floor, like in an Adirondack chair if your feet are on the floor, or reclined back is better. Okay? All right, so Dante, come on over here and take my seat. Okay, so now I'm going to show listeners at home what's important about sitting posture. We just discussed that a little bit. But a lot of chairs nowadays, they do have a little bit of lumbar support built into them, but your couch at home does not. Most of your recliners at home don't have very good lumbar support. Some cars have them built in. Older models no, but some of the newer models do have a lumbar support. But you have to activate it. You have to push that button on the side of the seat to get that lumbar support to activate. So this is a portable lumbar support. So MRS Physical Therapy does sell these. If you listened last month, we talked about this as one of the, as well as the stretch strap, one of the common pieces of equipment that we do recommend patients to have. And this is just a simple lumbar cushion. So it's not hard, it's not rigid, but what it does is it gives you a little bit of postural cue for your low back. So you can have this in your car, you can have this on your couch at home, your recliner at home. You can have this at work as well. If your work chair does not have a good enough built-in lumbar support, you can have this used as an additional lumbar support. And all we do is put it in the low back. So Dante, I'm going to have you scoot your butt all the way back to the back of the chair, which I think you are. Go ahead and lean forward. I went ahead and slid the low back support in there, and then go ahead and sit up. And that gives him a little extra cue to sit up taller. So most of us have that likelihood of wanting to slouch forward, especially if we're looking at our phone or on our computer. Okay, this gives him that little pillow, just gives him that little external cue in his low back to get that low back, what we call lumbar lordosis. The lumbar lordosis is the natural curve in your low back, so it encourages him to maintain that normal lumbar lordosis. So some of you have gotten x-rays and you've been told your curvature is reversed in your neck or your back. That means you've lost that normal lordosis, that normal curvature of your cervical spine or your lumbar spine. And using something simple like that lumbar roll that I demonstrated there with Dante helps to get that lumbar lordosis back to maintain it when you're sitting. Okay?
How about when we're driving? Is the car seat typically acclimated to our back, or do you have any tips there?
So if you have a newer car, you're going to have a switch on the side of your seat. It's going to be next to the switch that lets your seat go forward or backward or recline backward or forward. And there's going to be a button that when you push it, it increases the pressure on your low back. It's actually a lumbar roll like this that's pressing into your back. So you want to activate that so you feel that pressure against your low back, and you'll feel that actually help you sit up a little higher. Okay. So if you sit in your car and you adjust your mirrors and you look at it, I'm like, oh, okay, that looks pretty good. But then you hit your lumbar lordosis button. That's going to help you sit up taller. It might actually have you sitting up taller that you have to readjust your mirrors. That's how big of a difference it is between slouching and sitting up tall. You'll notice when you activate that lumbar lordosis button, it gives you that support. You'll be sitting up taller, and you might actually have to readjust your rear view mirrors because it'll be a couple inch difference between where you are sitting versus where you are sitting slouched versus where you are sitting with good postural alignment. Okay, that's good, Dante. I'm going to take my chair back and switch you. Okay, so like I said, if you're having any low back issues, if you are concerned about low back issues, maybe you've had them in the past, if you missed them at the beginning of the show, make sure you go back and rewatch it because we do have the flexibility exercises, the 4 best flexibility exercises you can do for your low back. And I also gave you the 4 best strengthening exercises you can do for your low back. But keep in mind, the ones that I showed you are kind of advanced. You need to work up to that phase. So maybe you're like, well, I'm going to try it anyway. I don't know. Dale showed me. I think I can do this. You'll probably get in that position and be like, I can't do this, this is too hard to do. Well, come to see me at MRS Physical Therapy or Cranberry Physical Therapy, and we will show you the proper progression of how to do those exercises. And like I said, most of you do not need a script to come see us if you want to come down and learn some of the preventative exercises, or if you are having an acute low back flare-up, or maybe you have chronic issues. Maybe it happens a couple times a year, and it debilitates you, and you lose work time or you lose lifetime, because you can't do things for a couple weeks. You can't work in your garden. Your garden's got full of weeds because you haven't been able to work in it for a month because your low back's bothering you. Please give us a call at MRS Physical Therapy. If you want to come see us at MRS Physical Therapy, our Bridgewater office is right in the heart of Stone Point Landing, right in the middle of Bridgewater. And that number is 724-728-7550. If you want to check us out at our Cranberry office, that's Cranberry Physical Therapy. That's on Route 19 right next to North Park Lounge in Cranberry. And that number is 724-591-8121. If you want to shoot me an email, you can email me at d.reckless@mrsphysicaltherapy.com. I'd be happy to answer any emails. If you want to call and talk to me, ask the secretary, see if Dale's available to talk, and I for sure will talk to you, or we'll get your number and I'll give you a call back if you have any questions about, do you take my insurance, which we more than likely do. We take most insurances. There are very few insurances that we don't take. Do I need a script? Most of the time, you do not need a script to come see us. If you have straight Medicare, then you do, but otherwise, you don't need a doctor's script. You can just come see us, and I can do my evaluation, and we can give you exercises. You can be on your way. You can check out our website, which is mrsphysicaltherapy.com. Has a lot of information on there beyond just the low back issues. It talks about every diagnosis we treat, which we treat from head, shoulders, knees, and toes. We take care of everything, whether it's a joint problem, whether it's a neurological problem. We do a lot with Parkinson's. I will throw a quick shout out for our Parkinson's. We're doing a research project with Duquesne University coming up in September. If you're interested in joining us for that research, if you have Parkinson's or know someone that has Parkinson's, we have a new exercise program that we're doing research on to see how that new exercise benefits people with Parkinson's. Again, reach out to either of those numbers or email me, and we will give you further information about how you can help us progress the awareness of how we can help out people with Parkinson's through exercise.
Oh, I applaud that. Wow. And the demonstrations we did will be on our Facebook page. So if you're watching and you wanted to go back and then study one of them just to see what it's all about before they come see you in your office, or you just want to get a visual if you're only listening on the radio, go to our Beaver County Radio Facebook page and see it. And
yeah, and we sell these things like last month we talked about. We sell these stretch straps. We sell these lumbar rolls. They're very inexpensive in price and very competitive against other places that sell the equipment here. So and we can show you how to use the equipment as well if you come to see us. How to properly put the lumbar roll in your car, your chair at home. How to use the stretch strap for the different exercises. But again, low back pain, one of the top diagnoses that we treat. It's probably the most common diagnosis in the country. It's definitely the most debilitating diagnosis in the country, meaning losing work time, losing lifetime of ability to do things you want to do, play with your grandkids and things like that. But we will show you the way, and we will steer the right path for you to live a life without low back pain, and how to manage it and how to prevent its occurrence from happening to you.
Well, I read the Farmer's Almanac report. They're saying another very snowy winter. So I know snow shovel season is.
Yeah, that'll be on one of my upcoming shows. How to take care of your back with the winter weather, and how not to slip and fall on the ice. How to take care of using your shovel properly and things like that. That's usually the 4-letter word I saved till a little bit later on in the year, talking about the snow, the upcoming snow. So.
As always, very informative, Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy. And I don't know, Dante, a couple of our Facebook viewers were saying, wow, who's this Dante? Is he single? I don't know. We may have found a modeling gig for you somewhere else.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you very much. Enjoy that. And you're back again next month?
I'll be back again next month, yeah.
All right, looking forward to it. And give that a website or the phone number one more time.
Yep, MRS Physical Therapy, which is in Bridgewater, right in Stone Point Landing, right in the heart of Bridgewater. That number is 724-728-7550. And then our Cranberry office, Cranberry Physical Therapy, is on Route 19, right next to North Park Lounge. That number is 724-591-8121.
Okay, very good. Learned a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
You both. All right.
Thank you, Dante.
Snack wraps are back at your local McDonald's. Tortilla filled with white meat chicken, lettuce, and cheese with your choice of ranch or spicy sauce. Available a la carte or in a 2-snack wrap combo meal. Only at McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Patriot Home Care is now hiring caregivers. Are you a caring and compassionate individual looking for a reliable income with benefits? Then call Patriot Home Care today.